conventions and international conventions on many topics related to technology and court reporting issues. He is married to his current/first wife, Kathy, has 2 graduated and employed children, 3 dogs, and no cats. He is a past president of both Wyoming and Tennessee associations. He has not been asked to be a part of the Men of Court Reporting, but having seen Bill Weber's picture, he figures it's only a matter of time. Keith says the barrel bottom has been reached. Mr. Lemons.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, oh, man, I'm off center, aren't I? What's that all about? Hold on a second. This is really strange. Can you give me just 1 second? Talk among yourselves. I'm getting a little verklempt here. Multiple monitors. 15, 68. Let's try that one, see if it works. Changes. I think that gets me all the way across there. Yes, okay. There is my email address. As you'll notice, you don't have anything in your packet for me at all. Probably because I forgot to write anything up until yesterday. No, really what happens with me is when I do seminars, if I don't write it down just before I do my seminar, then I completely forget everything I'm going to say. So if this is my email address, if you email me, I will send you a PDF of my PowerPoint. Because there's some stuff in here you might want and you may not want. k.lemons@comcast.net. Wait, that's not supposed to go there. All right, I might have to go do this the old-fashioned way. Here's a small disclaimer about this. I have not received any monetary consideration to endorse the following businesses and services. All right, let's talk a little bit. I just noticed as I was looking in the convention brochure that as far as this convention goes, I'm the first court reporter to talk to you all. So let's talk about court reporter stuff. And I'll start off with a joke about the comma who went into the bar and said, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paws." Okay, didn't work. Let's talk about investment. When you started out to become a court reporter, how many of you remember court reporting school? How many of you have been court reporters for more than, say, 20 years? How many more for more than 30 years? How many for fewer than 5? How many remember how much court reporting school cost you? Did it cost you a bunch or did it cost your parents a bunch? It was you, all you, right? Okay, so first of all, let's talk. We had a major investment in this career to start with, okay? And then you had to learn a basic skill set. Now, whether you're a court reporter that talks by mask, you're the court reporter that pushes a button on a digital recording device, or you're a court reporter that works a stenographic machine, you had a skill set that you had to learn. You had to become proficient at, you had to pass in order to become a court reporter. Does that mean that your skill set is solid from the day that you graduated court reporting school until now? How many think that you are as fast now as the day that you left court reporting school? How many think that you're faster now than the day you left court reporting school? How many think that if you took a speed test today that you passed 10 years ago, you could pass it again today? Okay, there's a lot fewer hands for that one. One thing I'm going to suggest to you is that ugly P word is that you need to practice. We all need to practice. And if it's nothing more than just getting out the machine every once in a while and trying to take down the guy from WSMV Channel 4 from Nashville who talks at 300 words a minute, it's a lot of fun. And then there are those milestones. How many of you are RPRs? Not only RPRs, but just RPRs. How many of you have gone on to take your RMR? How many passed the RMR? I suppose I should have said that one. RDR, CRRs. There's a few of us. CRIs? One there, okay. One of the real important things that we need to do as court reporters is we need to keep moving forward, because what happens when you stand still? Birds poop on you. Come on, folks, you can go ahead and talk to me. It's all right. You stagnate, that's right. You don't move forward, you're not going to do anything. So you need to keep on going with reporter milestones. If you haven't got your CRR, go for it this next time. And if you don't know how to pass it, email me. I'll tell you, because I'm the world's worst test taker, and I passed it the second try because I figured out a system on how to do it and made myself become unnervous. Is that a word? Unnervous? We'll use it today. These are the things we need to be as court reporters. We have to have a level of awareness. What do I mean by that? Other than keeping your keys in your hands when you go out to your car so you don't get mugged at night. You have to be aware of what's going on around you. It's real simple. You have to keep up with your education. Does that mean going to college? No. You know, high school, grade school, college, that is a blueprint that teaches you how to maintain and how to further your education. It does not give you an education. It gives you the groundwork for having an education. That means as a court reporter, your responsibility now as a court reporter is to become educated in everything. Because, you know, as court reporters, yesterday you might take a metallurgist, and tomorrow you might take a neuropsychologist, and then you might have to take an ear doctor, and heaven forbid an eye doctor. Those are my worst. So you have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be educated. It means you have to read. You have to read a lot. You have to read books for fun, because no matter what you read, and my wife and I have always talked about this, no matter what you read, you learn something from. She's been a fan of Barbara Cartland's for, you know, a long, long time. How many of you ladies read Barbara Cartland? Oh, this is sad. Okay. How many of you read the other trashy novels? What's that one that's current now? Gray Lady or something like that? What's it called? 50 Shades of Grey. Don't read that. No, it's awful. I've heard. Anything you read can actually give you a good sense of hearing a word. So you need to read. You need to watch your news. You need to read news, read newspapers, sports, current events, and you just need to basically get yourself a good education, continuing education. Let's talk about equipment. The kind of equipment I'm going to talk about today is your machine. I'm going to talk about your writer, which is your machine, cables, chargers, USB sound cards, digital recorders, microphones, earbuds, GPS. I think I went too fast there. All right, and computers. Let's start out with your computers. How many of you are working on a machine that's, let's say, 3 years old or older? How many of you are working? Can you hear me now? I could use my high voice. Does that help? That's better. How many of you are working on computers that are 3 years old or older? How many of you are working specifically on desktops to get your transcript out? How many of you are using specifically notebooks to get your transcripts out and to take everything down? Okay, here's the stuff that we're going to talk about now. How many of you are working on, say, like Windows Millennium? Anybody? Oh, good, because the last time I did this, I had 3 people. How many of you are working on Windows XP? Oh, there's quite a few of you. I'm going to have something coming out here in the next couple of months in the JCR that's going to say that XP, you need to be aware of this, XP is dead. D-E-D, dead. Microsoft has kind of nursed everybody along for the last 10 years because it's a 10-year-old system. And you got to realize that most of the stuff that you're buying now on your iPad and your iPod and your smartphones are not going to work on a 10-year-old system. It's not designed for that. So XP has pretty much gone about as far as it can go. So you need to start thinking about upgrading. Seriously, because as of, I think, August of this year, Microsoft is no longer going to support XP. It's a dead system. Windows 7 is stable. I like Windows 7. Okay, these are the things that I have at home. I have a computer, I have a desktop, I have a laptop. I shouldn't say a laptop, I'm computer poor. I have probably 5 laptops and maybe 4 netbooks. All right, for your machine, how many of you are working on really old machines, like maybe an X-Scribe? Are you working on an X-Scribe? Okay, don't look at her, it's embarrassing. Old stenograph machine, manual machine? Well, manual machine is okay because it still works no matter what you do. But how many of you are still working on your stentours? Am I echoing up here? Okay, there's something you need to know about your stentour, and I don't know if you've gotten an email about it, but I'll tell you about it now. Stentour works on a battery called a NiCad battery, a nickel-cadmium battery. Those batteries do not exist anymore except for what's out there. Nobody's making them, nobody can make them because of all the new EPA laws. So what you've got is a writer that you're using that's going to work on a battery that once it's dead, is dead forever. The only thing you're going to be able to do then is work on that machine by plugging it into the wall with a charger that nobody's making any more of either. So I hate to tell you this, and the X-Scribe machine's the same way. It's also working on, doesn't it work on an NiCad battery as well? If it still works?
And I can still get charged for it.
Okay.
The guy I trade with has, I guess, has made them or something.
Yeah, they'll remanufacture the ones that are out there for as long as they last. But the NiCad battery, you can't remanufacture the battery. It's just once it's dead, it's dead, it's dead. There might be places you can buy a supply of them and keep going for a couple of years, but you're really talking about losing everything if you lose the ability to power your computer. So the past is past. If you're looking at an XP, at the machine that you've got now as a Stentura, you need to start thinking about an upgrade. Here are the ones that they're offering. Today at the show, they've got a stylus and they've got a Diamante. I didn't get a chance to ask them what their prices of the going rates of these machines, but I'm going to guess. Anybody find out for sure? Tell me. How much? $5,000 for the Diamante, and what about the stylus?
$5,400 with tax for the Diamante. That included tax, $5,400.
And do they require you to put anything down on it if you get it? Do you remember? Get a $200 fuel card. Well, I bought my Diamante. I'm getting double here. I bought my Diamante at the TnCRA convention about 2 years ago, I think it was. And you get a real good deal usually at convention time. But if you're thinking about buying it outright, it's going to cost you a big chunk of money. If you lease it, it's going to cost you about $200 to $250 a month. And then what happens at the end of the lease is they'll sell it to you for cheap. Pardon me? Yes.
It's less than that. It's $191.
191? Okay, 191, so you're talking about a quarter or 1/2 day in court per month is what you need to pay for a brand new machine that actually will do things for you that the old machines will not. They think for you now. Actually on a Diamante, I can tell you, because I like this one, if you're writing on something, you notice that you're dragging your P a lot. I hate it when you drag your P, but just the way it is. But I noticed that I was doing that. On all of them, you can adjust the keys manually. On the Diamante, I really like is that it has a little square there that you can actually look at it and decide where you want to adjust it to without having to push it down until you hear the little beep, which is what most of the other ones are doing. But once you get that, take a look at what you're doing in your writing and you figure out where you're dragging things or not dragging things, because for some reason, for about the past 4 months, all of a sudden, everything I was getting had an M-E-N-T at the end of it instead of a period. So, I don't know if any of you get that, but obviously my index finger must be getting weak, and so I switched it so that the index finger, the F, actually, the stroke is a lot shallower than that, and all of a sudden I'm getting periods again. Yes? Okay, Get your mind out of the gutter. We talked about commas. We did not talk about periods, and I don't want to hear anything about it. Yes?
No, I thought you were stopping at the 1,000 Giovanni, and I was gonna ask you if anything below that is obsolete.
Okay, if you are a captioner, do we have any captioners here, by the way? One? Former captioner? And you're probably using like the Mira? Or, okay, so you can use the Mira for captioning. You can also use, I wouldn't suggest the, once you get out of school, what they usually sell you in schools is a student writer. You don't want to work with a student writer. I'm sorry, ladies, who are still, if we have the two students here, you kind of have to think about graduating to the big boy pants writer, because those only hold like 200 pages, and you will fill that up in half a day, around here anyway. Except for, you know, when I moved down here from Wyoming, I was told that people in the South talked slow. I was sold a bill of goods. No, they just talk, they don't talk slow, they just sound slow with an accent, but it's really fast. So where was I? Okay, you wanted to know about the passport. Did anybody want to know about the passport?
I just wanna know if others below the Diamante price are still good.
Oh, thank you. I was having a senior moment. The Mira still works well. There's no reason for you to change that, because the Mira has everything you can get in the Diamante as long as you don't break it. Once you break it, you know, they're going to tell you that you need to buy the Diamante or something, or you can send it someplace else. But it's still good. It'll still work. They've also got the Fusion, which if you're in a situation where you have to have paper, the Fusion is basically the Diamante with paper, I think, I've heard. Yes?
The Diamante, the little chip that goes in the back, is that the latest little chip out now?
The,
Square little
okay, you're talking, she asked me in the Diamante, the chip in the back.
it's not complicated.
It's this thing right here. It's an SD card.
The latest thing that's out now.
Well, you can use well, this is a 4 gigabyte that they sent you with. I think it says it will format up to a 64 or 12 gigabyte. I can't remember what it was. But if you own a Diamante and you haven't checked on TnCRA's website in the last 6 months or so, they do have a new writer update, so you need to download it and put it on your Diamante.
They do have.
Yes, they do have at least one new writer update. I like mine. As of May 1st? Okay, May 1st. So May Day. Okay, how many of you, yes?
I just want to point out, I just got a Diamante, and I had a mirror, and TnCRA would only give $1,000 for that.
Yes.
TnCRA also, usually they take any old machine you had, they would give zilch for that. But Acula bought both from me. They gave me $1,500 for the mirror, more than TnCRA, and then gave me $4 or $5 for the old bill TnCRA.
Everybody hear that?
Acula did give something for it.
Okay, what she said was Acula gave her $1,500 for her Mira and $400 or $500 for the old Stentura.
Right, TnCRA offering $1,000 for the mirror and $0 for the TnCRA.
Yeah, it's you know, if you send it to TnCRA, and I like TnCRA, and I'm a beta tester for TnCRA, but it's like going to a car dealer. If you trade in your car, you're going to get a cheaper price for that car than you would if you sold it to somebody who really wants it. So Acula and other places, maybe Steno Doctor, may buy your old writer for more than you get for a trade-in. And so that might be something that you want to look at when you're thinking about getting another one. The Passport is Eclipse's new writer, and I have people that use it. Anybody here have one? Passport? How do you like it? See, I've heard that people...
I don't like about it is the fact that mine's about 2 years old, the vowel keys are flush
Mm-hmm.
with the rest of the keyboard, which I'm not used to, so it took me like 6 months not to drag every single vowel.
I did not know that. She said the vowel keys are flush with the rest of the keyboard.
It now may be an option that you can change, but at the time I got it, it was just flush, so.
I have a friend who is so eclipsed that he tells me everything was wonderful about it. Of course, if you look at a Passport, they let you get all kinds of colors. You can do everything you want to, but it's basically you're dressing up a VW thing. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's not pretty, but it works. So that's also something you might want to think about. All these things you can lease. Every single one of these places have a lease program, a lease offer that you can use, And I recommend it because it gets you a new writer, which you really need. Convention specials, I don't know what they're offering here. I don't know if it's all that great. So if you don't like what they're offering here, wait until August when they're having the NCRA convention. You don't have to be at the convention to get the convention special. No. You call up your rep or whoever and you say, I want the convention specials. And if it's going on at the same time, usually they'll give it to you. All right, what have we got next? Let's not forget, you need to have cables for your real-time. You need to buy an extra charger for your home, for your writer and your computer. And for example, on my HP computer here, this is the one that basically I use this one as my ETRAN computer because I don't use this, I don't take this with me anymore. So you can buy HP has a generic power cable that you can buy, and you can buy that for most of your old computers. So I would suggest that for every computer that you have, you buy at least one extra charger to leave at home and one to take with you on the job. That way it's always in your case and you don't get to the job and go, I don't have any power, which I've done more than once.
I did that with my writer.
Yeah, writers will do that too. And hopefully you have a good friend because then they can come get you. Good digital recorders now, they're cheap. You can buy, I think, a Sony handheld that will hold up to 120 hours for about $50 now. I think that's what they're costing. And for those of you who don't use digital recording on there, I mean, if you're using a recording now, don't use a tape recorder, use a digital recorder. It's much, much, much better. You need to get a good set of microphones. And I don't mean one, I mean several. In my Diamante, and I don't know about the other writers, but I'm going to tell you in my Diamante, I can record directly to my Diamante with a microphone. So I carry at least 2 microphones with me on the job. I can put one in my Diamante, a short microphone. I mean, you can get, they sell those that are designed specifically for the writer that will attach on the back of the writer and kind of look like a little pimple back here. I'm not sure I like that because you're not really pointing at the attorneys, you're pointing at their knees. And even though even though everything might be coming through up top, you don't want anything coming through down below because they're very sensitive.
Does the microphone a good microphone that would plug in like the lapel microphone?
The microphones that they give you, I just bought a new one from, I got my first couple from Stenograph, and this time I went to Martel and got the Martel because it has it's a little bit, I think that's the one actually that Stenograph is using now. And when it comes, they give it to you in a little box like this. And then in that box, you put your it also comes with one of these, which is something that I would recommend that if you don't have, you can actually go to Stenograph or one of these places, and it sits up like this. So when you plug in your microphone, plug it in on top like this. And if you like to sit what I do for bench conferences is I change it around like this so that I have my microphone sitting like this and put it up at the bench, up on the bench so it becomes a flat mic. Really works well. Because I found that if I put it up like this, the attorneys are always knocking it over. Every time they're knocking it over. So a good flat mic is what you need. I plug that into my writer. And I also plug in, let me show you what I've got for my, picks up really well. Now, how many of you are recording to your computer? Anybody? What are you using? Just plugging a microphone into your computer slot? Okay, there's a thing out there. It's called a USB card, sound card, and this is the USB cable. And this actually has 2 microphones in it. This is from Turtle Beach. And I think Turtle Beach, it's spelled just like it sounds, Turtle Beach. And it has 2 high-gain microphones on both sides, so it records in stereo. And I've got a microphone in, a speaker out, so that I can monitor what's being recorded in my computer, which you can't do with a lot of new computers that are out there these days. So that if you want to hear bench conference, all I have to do is pop on my earphone, and there it is.
How close do you have to put it to the bench?
Well, this one here, if I'm having this one here, what I'm going to do then, I'm probably going to get ahead of myself, but I'll show you what I've got. Because I thought, well, let me just take what I bring with me on a real-time job, and I'll show you. These you can buy. I got these from Martell too because it's a better quality. But these are 3.5-inch extenders. So you have a male end and you have a female end. This one's 6 feet long. I got 2 6-footers and 2 12-footers. So that if I need to be sitting far away from the bench, I can put one right there. But I actually split this with a little doohickey that you can buy at any store. It's a splitter that you can plug into your iPod and go out twice to it. So instead of actually thinking of this as being the place where I'm going to plug in my earphones, I plug in the male end to my microphone. I can split those microphones so that they're all going into one place on my computer. So then I bought also from Martell. There are these little microphones that sit like this. It's a flat mic, as you can see. And with these flat mics, they have another microphone like this, and you can serial mic it. So I can put up to 5, I put either up to 4 or 5 more mics around the courtroom, especially when I'm in that courtroom that he couldn't talk about with the judge that doesn't like court reporters, and I won't give you his name, but his initials are Thomas Brothers. Uh-huh.
He wanted me to, I said, we were talking about, the technology in his courtroom and stuff, and I said, well, you've got a bad rep. And I said, I'm going to do something about it. And he said, okay. He told me to tell everybody that he loves court reporters. And believe me, I'm just the messenger, so don't throw your pins at me.
Thomas Brothers loves court reporters. Okay, go ahead. Go on.
The other one that he said was that we should look at videography.
He loves court reporters who do videography. Jim, he loves you. He loves you, Jim, just telling you.
He told me about the courtrooms in Florida, and that he thought it was just great because the court reporters could make, 4 times your per diems, because he said you would be in one room and you would have 4 screens videotaping, and you would get 4 different per diems because you're sitting there watching these screens videotaping, but you could work on your other work.
If it only worked like that.
That's what he said, and the message was he loves court reporters, and he doesn't mind court reporters coming into his courtroom at all.
Except that, let me describe to you how it works in Judge Brothers Court.
Yeah, he does stick with it.
There's the witness over there. This is defense counsel right here. And this is where I get to sit. And so you have to listen. So that's why I use all these microphones. I put one over here for bench conferences because when he does bench conference, he turns on like a fan or something that makes a lot white noise thing. So you can't hear anything at all unless you are mic'd up and listening. So you've got that one there, and then I serial mic over to the witness stand so I can listen to that one. And I put a mic in the middle of the plaintiff's table and one at the middle of the defense table.
And these wires, they never said
Yeah.
anything about having so many wires?
No, because I am unobtrusive with wires. And you know why? This is called gaff tape. This is something you need to know. It's not the good old boy stuff. It's not duct tape. It's gaff tape, G-A-F-F. And gaff tape does not stick to wood. It does not, it'll stick there, but it'll peel off without leaving any residue. And it's really expensive, but it's worth every penny because when I go into a courtroom and I wire things up if I need them, then you run it along like this right here. See, this is all done with gaff tape right here so that people don't walk over top of them. And so I use my gaff tape and I wire up the courtroom. You can't tell it's wired up because it's unobtrusive. Yes? What time do I show up? I can get all this done in probably 15 minutes. Once you get used to it, then you can get it out because it's just like anything else. If you set up your machine, all of you could probably set up your machine without opening your eyes. Yes? Yes. It's a USB sound card. And actually, the reason why I was going to talk about this, and I forgot to talk about it, was that the sound card is contained in this little black box right here. So this is the sound card you're recording through the sound card to your computer disk. Instead of using your computer sound card that's in there that's nasty, lousy, because they all are now. They put the cheapest component they can in the computer, so it's one like this. Yes? This one here? No, this is a Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach.
And you said you got that from Martell, right?
No, this one I got from, it's from a company called Audio Advantage. Audio Advantage? It becomes the sound card. No. Well, I mean, once you put it in there, the first time you put it in, it's going to ask for, you have to run the setup on it. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. This is just like using the one that comes on your computer, except that it's better, a lot better. When you plug it in there, it becomes the sound card, so it does disengage it. Yes. It doesn't. But once you do this is something you have to remember. Once you get, go ahead. The question was, does it disengage the sound card in your computer? The answer is yes. It becomes the sound card in your computer. Yeah, it's just like using anything else, except that it's just another sound card, but it can be put away that far away. Yes. This one is a Turtle Beach. Audio Advantage.
It's calling it Amigo on the website.
Is it?
It says Audio Advantage Amigo. And it's $24.95?
No, actually, it's the more expensive one. This is the SRM. SR as Sam, Rosemary, and Mary. Sam, Richard, and Mary. Yes.
It overrides your internal microphone when you choose it in your options.
That's the next thing I was going to say. If you are using this, once you go into your CAT program, you have to tell the CAT what you are using as your sound. And it'll remember it from then on, but the first time you stick it in there, and it's still going to try to record to something that doesn't exist anymore once you plug this in. How much do you remember? How much you paid for it? $199 maybe? $200? $99? I really can't remember. I just know that I was so fed up with the sound I was not getting from my computer that I decided to try it, and I love it. And if it breaks, I'm going to have to try something else. There are also ones you can get that are fairly cheap from Stenograph, from Martell, from Anita Paul International. I don't know where she's getting it from. Yes?
I mean, you're following up with that. You get what you pay for in mine. So if you get a $2.95 mine, that's what you get.
Yes. So this one here, what he said, if you pay for a $20 mic, you're going to get a $20 sound. Now this one that I bought from Martell, this one is specifically designed for court reporters. This one cost me $200. And that's what you need. I mean, you need to work the best, you need to buy the best. This one here, I think it's very similar. It's probably about $200, somewhere around there. It's been about 4 years since I bought it, and it's still working great, so I don't remember. I know that my friend over there bought one last year, and I can't remember. Maxine, do you remember how much you paid for it? Okay. Maxine will tell us when she's looked it up, or if you can find it on there, on the website. I love smartphones. Okay, so you have to have several good microphones so that you get everything that you're listening for. That's my external sound card. And then you have to have a good earbud or earphones. Now, earbuds are great. I mean, I love the earbud for portability. When I'm listening, and I'm trying to listen just to the bench conference, I can stick an earbud in there and be really, really quick about it, except for one thing. I generally they come in twos, and so when you pick up one, the other one's going to hit you in the face. Or you're putting the right one into your left ear, and by the time I finally get it all situated, bench conference is almost over, and I feel pretty bad about that. So what I do instead, I feel bad that I'm not getting that bench conference. Because generally speaking, most of my work that I do in trials is real-time. I'm real-time for medical malpractice cases. and they are all looking at my computer as I am taking the bench conferences down. So they kind of miss it when I miss it. So what I did was I went out and bought myself a really nice pair of earphones. These are Sennheisers. Sennheiser, Sennheiser. They're a little bit cheaper than, these are, let me see if I can tell you. Sennheiser. And they're, it's a sound muffling microphone, so it makes white noise so that you can hear better. And so when I'm sitting there like this, I'll just hang it around my neck and I can flip it up and flip it down. It's a lot nicer. No, I got this one, I think I actually might have got it at the Mac store. Mac store? Do you have Mac Authority stores around here? Mac Authority. But you can get it anywhere. You can actually order it from Sennheiser, I think. But either way, order something that has a really good quality earpiece, because, like I said, if you get your $10 Sony earpieces, it's going to sound like a $10 earpiece.
So that's like a headphone, right?
This is a headphone. Yeah, and the nice thing about it is that it has. Always try to take care of your cords, by the way. Otherwise, it's really bad. So it comes out just, and when you turn it on like this, it has a battery in here, so it will deaden the sound for you, make it more clear. But it also folds up like this. So, very nice. It's one thing I like. I thought, well, I'll just bring everything here and show you so I can make you jealous. Okay, so one thing I've been trying to find, because I really liked it, is in the Fifth Circuit in Nashville. They have, for this one really big thing that they use for recording. I don't know if it's a big Sony or whatever, but I don't know how old it is. But they have a single earbud that is the most clear earbud I have ever heard in my life, and it probably cost them $5 to make. I can't find one. I've been trying to find single earbuds ever since then, and not one of them sounds as good. So if anybody comes across a single earbud that sounds really good, let me know. I'll put it in the JCR. Speaker cable extensions, which we talked about, and the speaker cable splitters. Now, your computer desktop. Most of your computer desktops that you can buy now, the market has basically stabilized. The monitor, or the actual computer itself, is probably going to be around $700. $700 to $800 to $900. So we're looking at less than $1,000 for the entire system. And maybe a little bit more because you want to have more than one monitor. I didn't put that on here. But how many of you have ever used a two-monitor system? Let me tell you, folks, if you don't have a two-monitor system, that means buying two flat panel monitors. One sits right next to the other one. You can use them so that you can put your email over here, or your internet over here, and then your cat over here. It just gives you a whole new level of productivity. Because, yeah, you just got to try it. You just split it. You stick it in there, and your computer already knows. No, your computer already knows how to do it. You just hook it up. They will either display as the same, or you tell it that you want to use a two-monitor system. And so one will be monitor 1, one will be monitor 2. Otherwise, you call it extending your desktop. So basically what I have is a monitor that sits here like this, a big 25-inch monitor, and then I didn't have enough room for another 25, so I just bought a 22-inch monitor. So I have a gigantic wall of monitors right here when I'm writing. And so it helps me to figure out, what the definition of is. This is what you want to have. You want to have at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. And RAM is the stuff that's internal inside the computer. And so figure 6 to 8, you're going to find probably most of them have 6 to 8, but if you can find one that has 8, that's the better one. The one that I bought recently is called an Asus, A-S-U-S. I don't know if they call it Asus or if it's Asus or whatever it is, but it's A-S-U-S. And it had 8 gigabytes of RAM. It had a 1 terabyte hard drive. And a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes, which is really big. So you can put a lot of stuff on there. You can fit your entire iTunes library. 10 or 20 times over. The only thing with the terabyte drive is that even as big as it is, it's still partitioned into more than one drive. So you'll be safe if you're looking for something about 500 gigabyte drive. Those are about right. Get a wireless keyboard. And the reason I say that is because they're a lot smaller, for one thing, plus you're able to move around, especially if you have the two of them going at the same time. You can then move it over to the middle and move it to side or side. I love the wireless keyboard. They're really good. And a wireless mouse keyboard combination, too. I'll get the wireless mouse. And then Wi-Fi. On most computer desktops, they do not come with Wi-Fi installed. What you need to do then is buy a little tiny USB Wi-Fi key, which I don't have a picture of right here, but you can buy that at any Best Buy for about $70, $65, $70, I think is all it costs. And it's, see if you can see it from here, because I have this one here. This is a Belkin Wi-Fi key. And that's all the bigger it is, smaller than my thumb. And that's what you'll use to plug into your computer, your desktop computer, and make everything wireless at home. And then mouse. Not for the wireless itself, no. Once you plug it in, it's plug and play. But I think they also will give you a small, I think on my wireless thing, it gives you a little tiny, like a mini CD to load on there. But all this stuff that you're getting, yes, you'll have to load it. No, that was actually Wi-Fi. Now I have a Bluetooth, there's also a little Bluetooth dongle that looks like it's that big on this one. I use that one with my computer to this. Because I was going to tell you, once we get into in a minute. Your notebook and your laptop, they're going to be about $700 to $1,300. They're really getting a lot cheaper. You can buy a really good quality Asus again for about $700. It's twice the computer that this one is right here, which cost me about $1,400 5 years ago. The basics that you're going to want to have on it is 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM, 300 to 500 megabyte hard drive. It's going to have built-in Wi-Fi. Almost all of them do now. And one thing I didn't tell you about this one is that almost every computer that comes out now has a built-in internet webcam. So that and the nice thing about the webcam is if you forget to bring your computer, anything else with you, the webcams actually have a nicer microphone than the old computers did. So that's what I'm going to tell you what I use in a minute. Any brand name that you go look for nowadays is going to be good. There isn't anything that's bad anymore that's out there. I think the ones that probably are going to be a lot more expensive will be the Sonys, but really they're not any better. I'll tell you that you can also use on CAT systems now. You can also use a Mac, and you can load on there what's called Boot Camp or Parallels. I don't remember which one it is, but Boot Camp I think is what they're using mostly of, and it mimics a PC hard drive. So you can use it that way. However, I had a friend of mine who had lots of computer problems with her PC, and then she got a Mac, and so now I can't help her because I don't understand Macs at all. I don't think like a Mac. I know that you love Macs, and Macs, I guess, are really user-friendly, but they're not user-friendly for me because I look at it and I can't figure out what to do. I don't know why. I'm overthinking it, I guess. But the nice thing about a Mac that you can get, they're very, very light. They're almost paper thin.
I have a
MacBook, what's it, 3 pounds?
Yeah.
MacBook Air. And you're using what, Parallels or Boot Camp?
I actually am not running my CAT software on it.
Oh. Well, she's chicken then.
Website and all my other things on that, but that's my second one.
Okay. So Macs you can use Mac. And the nice thing about having a Mac too is that a lot of your attorneys are now using Macs for the whole office. And so you have to figure out how you can give them, how you can do real time for them, which is what I'm going to show you. You get netbooks. This is a netbook. This is a little HP that I've got. And I bought a 12 volt battery, or a 12 cell battery, or 6 cell battery instead of the 3 cell battery. This will last me about 8 hours unplugged. And I use this for real time. I do not take that big thing with me. I take this. This is what I use for real time. And I can see it all because it's got a plenty big enough screen. It's not so big that you're not showing the people in the jury what it is that you're writing, because a lot of stuff they can't see, but if with this gigantic thing they can. I've had courts tell me, you have to put that down. Nobody's ever said that with this. But this is about, I think about $350, maybe $400. I've got 1 gigabyte of RAM in it, and it's using the Windows Atom, A-T-O-M, which I know that Case Catalyst works just fine with it. I have had no problems except for when I try to do too many things at once. And that's just because, you know, I'm trying to ask too much of a little tiny machine. It's like the little machine that could. But this is what I use for my computer when I'm at work. This is what I use for my attorneys when they want real time. These are also netbooks. They also cost about $200 to $400. Netbooks. This one is from Gateway, and this one's an Acer.
I was going to ask you where you get them, because the last few times I've been at Best Buy, they're all tablets now, and there are no netbooks laying around. So are you
I actually got this at Best Buy, the Gateway.
recently?
Yeah, about 3 months ago. But yeah, go to Gateway, go to Acer, go to, I mean, you'll still be able to find them. You can get them online. But if Samsung's good. There's a whole bunch of them if you just kind of be patient. I just buy them when you got the money, because the nice thing about it is that you just set them up. When you get home, you put your antivirus software on it, and then put your real-time receive software on it, load it up, and run real-time one time, and it remembers everything. So all I have to do is just turn it on, hit my real-time feed, and off we go. No sitting there wondering about whether my attorney is going to be compatible with my computer and blah, 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 blah. Really good thing to have. Yes? Really, the only difference between, you mean the one that I'm using? The only difference is the size of the battery. I think I got a 6-cell battery in mine. It's an extra charge on mine, but it lasts for a full 8 hours. And these will probably last about 3 to 4. You still have to set the settings so that they don't go to sleep on you. But other than that, once you set them up, they're good to go forever. Yeah?
Are you saying that you set those up for the attorneys, you don't hook up to their computers?
Well, I do hook up to their computers, and I also set these up because 9 times out of 10, they didn't bring the right stuff with them.
Or they don't know their software?
They don't know their software. They didn't bring the stuff with them. I can't tell you. What happens at the end of the day, since they didn't bring their stuff, I mean, invariably, they'll send them with everything except for the USB port. Or they'll say, here it is, and here's the key or whatever, and they don't know how to use it at all. So what I can do with this, with CaseViewNet, is I can just save it as a live note file, and then put it on a key, and then send it to them email, or if they have a thumb drive, I put it on their thumb drive, and we're all good. We're good to go. And since they're using mine, I said you can put make any markings, anything you want to, and I'll put it on a thumb drive for you. When I'm done, I'll erase it, and then you'll have all the information you would have had anyway. Plus, it's better because Live Note, even though it's the industry standard, is the industry crappiest real-time receive software out there. I'm sorry. If anybody here's a Live Note vendor, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. But it doesn't do things like refresh. And if I'm writing a real-time job, during the breaks, I'll go back and correct the mistakes, errors that I've written. And when I do that on my machine here, it goes over to their machine immediately. So what they're getting at the end of the day is my cleaned up file that I don't have to sit there 2 hours afterwards and continue doing. And then when I get done with my job during that day, I have loaded on a Dropbox, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm not sure how much time I got left. I just back everything up to my Dropbox, and then Dropbox shows up on all my other computers, and I restore from Dropbox to my other computer, and then voila, I've got my stuff at home. I don't have to hook it up, cable, or anything. It's the greatest invention of the internet age. Yes, ma'am? Yes. Yeah. No, if I am writing, what I'm going to do at the end of the day is I've organized all my stuff on Case Catalyst into cases. I don't know how they do it in other systems. I'm sure you have the same kind of thing into compartments or folders or however you do it. I back up the entire folder to Dropbox. I just call it a name, like the Johnson folder. And then when I go to put it on Dropbox, course, you have to leave your computer on when you get home so that it can actually transfer it. And it transfers usually, especially with a good Wi-Fi system, about 235 to 250 megabits per second. And that's enough for about 4 minutes worth. Will get you a whole day. And so when I'm doing trials down at the courthouse, I will have a Wi-Fi connection. I just back it up there, leave my computer on, and when I get home, it's already there so I can work on whatever I need to work on for the next day. And then when I get home and get done with that one, then I will just, again, back it up back to Dropbox and restore it when I get back to the courthouse. It's really cool. It really works great. For your netbook, you're going to get a gig of RAM, 500 hard drive, and every single one of them comes with Wi-Fi. And with I've not seen one that didn't yet come with a webcam. So they're all, it's pretty cool. So if you're off on a job somewhere and your wife is in Germany, which happens with me quite a bit because my wife is a director of a company that works in Germany a lot, I UVU, or UVU is a program just like Skype, and so I can talk to her on my computer. It's really cool. All right, let's see. You can also use iPads and tablet PCs. Now, iPads has you really can't real time to them yet unless you go through the internet. If you go through the internet, and it can be gone through a browser, which it has to be able to work with, what's the name of the browser on there? Safari browser. If it'll work on Safari browser, they can do that, but there is no functionality to it. And so it's really not that great. But with an iPad, you can also send your transcript to them into a format. There's an app on iPads, just for iPads, called Mobile Transcript. Mobile Transcript? Transcript. Actually, and I looked on that today, it's a Mobile Transcript will actually, you can do it on iPad and iPhone and on Android devices. So you can get that app for any of them. And on RIM, BlackBerry devices too. So if they download that one, you can send them an email with a formatted PDF file, basically, and then they can work on it on their iPhone or whatever. So it's really cool. That's another neat thing that you can do. Yes? Probably not. I think what Stenograph will do is support the program itself, but if it interfaces with a Mac and it's an interface problem, they will try to help you with whatever interface they can that they know about through boot camp, because they don't recommend parallels that I understand. And they might help you a little bit with that, but really your CAT systems are still PC-based, and that's what they're looking to do. Because you have to remember, folks, we are a very small industry, and everything that we have is vertically based. So they're not looking for the widest common denominator. They're looking for the common denominator for the widest bunch of people, which is just court reporters on PC. Tablet PCs, a friend of mine in Minnesota recently got his house robbed, and they took all of his PCs and all of his notebooks and everything they had with them. So when he replaced them, he bought a bunch of tablet PCs, the little, with Windows 7 tablet, Windows 8, or I guess it's Windows 7 tablets, and he's using those for his throwdown computers. I think it's kind of a lot more expensive than he wants, but he loves gadgets more than I do, so that's also an option. Your smartphones are going to be, it's not going to be too much longer before I know that at least Stenograph and Eclipse, and I don't know about the other ones, but I know those two companies are working on their own programs for an app where you can send your real-time directly to the smartphone. So we'll see how those come out. I bet those come out within the next couple of years. Okay, these are the things I take with me too. This is called a note table. This part here. Folds up like this. Actually, this one has a thing that you can, this part right here actually has a thing that has a basket in it so you could put in your drink. I don't allow drinks around my computer anyway, so I don't know why they put that in there. But it's just a little flat thing, fits in your case really well. And then with your extra tripod, you put this on here, and it takes you, if I can see it, takes you a couple minutes to do this. And then when I'm sitting at the doctor's office and he's got all of his files right there, I just stick this right here, and I'm ready to go. I don't have any wires that I need to worry about at all. I've got full charge on my computer, a full charge on my Diamante, and everything's wireless. Bang, we go.
Is that table from Stenograph?
That table is from Stenograph. I don't remember when I bought it, many years ago. But there's also another one that they sell you, that used to sell you, that was a lot smaller than that. But then when the computers started to get this size, they made that one. They made that one for the big ones. Software. CAT software. You need to have something like Word. And the reason I say that is because when you send out letters to your attorneys, when you bill somebody extra, when you send something out with letterhead on it, you want it to look really nice. And unfortunately, CAT programs make really nice transcripts. They don't make really nice letters. Billing software. Billing software is really important so that you can maintain a cash flow. Isn't that what we all like? You know, we haven't talked much about this. We heard somebody say that he didn't believe that court reporters were going, didn't think we'd ever get affected, but you know what? We got affected. And I know you're all looking and nodding your head at me. This last 2 years, but especially last year, was like one of the worst years in court reporting I can ever recollect. Of course, I'm a little personal. I had an issue that kind of kept me out of the workforce for 6 months, but I know that talking to people in my office and people at other places, things went really, really slow. And so this year, we found out that court reporting is no longer bulletproof. So we have to do something about that. And this is what I'm talking about by improving yourself. You want to have PDF making capabilities. You want to be able to use eTran. Now, you don't have to buy the program anymore because they don't sell it. But they do. But you can buy a, what do they call that? A subscription for, I don't know, some many dollars a month that you can buy it. Most attorneys, how much is it? 80-something dollars a month? Now, if you're a member of a group, then you can send that to that one person in the group and they can do all that stuff. If you're by yourself, find somebody that's in a group, because I think $80 is a lot of money for something you only use once in a while. But in Nashville, I can tell you that a lot of the attorneys that are asking now when you say, how do you like it, because they all want something different, but most of them are asking for full-size compressed and eTran. They want the eTran. So we got our wish. They're all doing it, but eTran screwed us over by making it do it differently. So Dropbox. How many of you have heard of Dropbox other than me talking about it just a second ago? Go to Dropbox.com and get it. It's free. Now, try it for a while and see how you like it, because it is free for a while. I mean, it's free for as long as you don't use up to however many gigabytes it is, like 5 gigabytes or something. Yes? 2 gigabytes. And that's a lot of transcripts you can put on 2 gigabytes. Dropbox is a thing that you install on your computer, and you invite people to you install it on all of your devices, and then you invite somebody else to install it on their device. And so anytime I want to take a file, I'm going to take it from my computer and just drop it into the Dropbox. Dropbox then takes it and sends it to a cloud device, or Dropbox, wherever that is, and then it will disseminate it to all the places that I have installed Dropbox. So your file, like I said, you can access it on any computer, yes. As long as you have a browser and remember your login information, you can get it from anywhere.
And I have like 8.5 gigabytes and I'm not paying.
She has 8.5 gigabytes, she's not paying. I bought it, and I have 50 gigabytes, and I think I'm paying $50 a year. And one of the things I did with Dropbox for my extra backup, I have 3 different backups. I do Carbonite, and I do Dropbox as a second backup, and then I use an actual carry away from my computer backup. Carbonite.com. Carbonite's really good. I mean, it's great for saving everything you've got, and they've made it easier for you to get files back. It's wonderful, but it takes about 4 or 5 days to get everything uploaded. And then if you have a crash, let me say that differently. When you have a crash, you can download all that stuff back onto your computer, but Dropbox is not designed to be an instant gratification kind of software. You will get it down, but it will take a long time. It will take you like about 4 or 5 days to get everything back down. That's why I have 3 different backups. I use the Dropbox, and I do that about once a week. And then my online for Carbonite, and that's instantaneous. It backs up as you're working.
You don't back up on the
And then my third one is a USB hard drive. And you can get those really cheap now. I mean, I think a terabyte drive is under $200. I think they're even under $100.
But they crash.
They crash too. Everything you have will crash.
I have 2
Okay, you see, that's a wonderful example of why I say I don't limit myself to one backup. She said that she had 2 different things that she backed up and both of them crashed.
No, just one.
Just one crashed.
But I had the mirror image.
Okay,
I backed up to USB too.
there you go. So you need to back up. Yes, go ahead. Yes. Right. It's not dangerous. The only thing with the thumb drive, gigabyte little USB thumb drives that you're getting, is nobody really has investigated how long files stay on there without becoming degraded, because it's an optical drive, and so we just don't know. So that's why I try to. You can use it for transfer and stuff, and you can also use it for a basic backup, but I wouldn't rely on it as your primary mean because you just don't know, and they're also very small and easy to lose. Yes.
Carbonite's only good as long as you have your subscription, right? If you have files on there from 3 years ago, but you let your subscription lapse, you can't get to those files.
You have 30 days, I think, from the end of your subscription, or is it 90 days, before they destroy it? 90 days, yeah. But, you know, Carbonite's not the only one out there. Mozy Pro, I think. Is anybody else using a different one than that? Which one? I backup? Yes, over here.
I have carbonite, but I know I back my stuff up also besides that.
Right.
One time, I couldn't find a file, and after I backed everything up, I deleted from my computer. Well, I called them up and asked them if they could find it, and they said no, after you deleted from the computer, it's only good for 30 days, and you can get it to roll up.
She said that she couldn't find it on Carbonite. Did you have the newest version of Carbonite, by the way, when that happened? See, here's something I will mention to you. If you have Carbonite, have had it for several years, okay, 3 or 4 years, then there are new updates to that program. If you have any problem downloading anything that you had on there before, go into Carbonite and download the new version of it. They keep several versions of your file. So if you delete the one of them, you still have other versions that are backed up to it. Even if you do that, you should be able to find it on Carbonite. You should be able to. They don't keep it. Well, then I would go with something different, like maybe Mozy Pro or iBackup. iBackup, is that right? Okay, I just want to be sure that I'm understanding. Okay. Yes. I wouldn't give my attorneys access to my Dropbox. I mean, you can if you want to, but here, let me tell you one way that you can do it. If you use Dropbox, and then, like I said, I bought the other one, but you can make folders within your Dropbox, and you invite people to access that folder. So if you have an attorney that you have a special relationship with, or if you have people that you use all the time, go ahead and make a folder for them, give them access to it, but that's the only thing they can access. They cannot access anything else. But even so, I've had it for a long time, and I've never given an attorney access to my Dropbox. But you might, I mean, you can. But the only thing I can say about that is I want to be really sure that whatever file I'm sending out is going out clean, and that there's no way if somebody gets a virus that they can say it came from me. So I don't want somebody just going into my computer and then claiming that they got a virus from me. Excuse me. Which brings us to the next one. You need to have an antivirus, malware, and spyware suite. How many of you are Comcast customers? How many of you are cable company customers of some kind? What other cable companies are there? Okay, so, or not cable companies, but like AT&T, one of those. Almost all the people now that are offering you internet service are giving you a free antivirus suite that you can use. Comcast is giving you Norton 360, which I think is one of the best out there. I do. Of course, I like Norton probably because I bought the program when it was called Peter Norton, and that was back with DOS 3.3, 3.1 or whatever it was. So. Yeah, you can use, any of those are pretty good. I mean, there aren't any that are bad. They're all good. You just don't want to have, you want to have something that you don't have to think about too much. So get your software, your spyware suite, set it so that when it's online, or when you're up and going, that it's online grabbing whatever information it needs back. Backups we talked about. Real-time receive software. I know for those of you who are on Eclipse, there are a whole bunch of CDs on the front desk out there that are called Bridge. That's their real-time receive software. And that's for, I think, for court work or whatever. I'm not really sure because I'm not on Eclipse. But that one's free for you. For those of us on Case Catalyst, if you buy CaseViewNet, it's gone down a whole bunch. It was $750, then went to $500, and I think now it's down to $250 to buy it. It's, to my way of thinking, anytime I can get Wi-Fi on there, it's so much better, because when you have cabled software that you have to cable to some attorney's computer, you have to do all kinds of weird gyrations in there to make sure that you're hand shaking at the same baud rate, and that their computer isn't turning off on time, and quitting, because generally speaking, when I have to do that, I have to go in there and do all that stuff, and I really feel bad about, I mean, I know I can do it, but most of you, I'm not sure can do all that stuff, and I wouldn't want to put you in a position where you're saying that the attorney will say to you, "You screwed up my computer." So that's why I really like wireless, and why I like the little doohickeys right there.
And did you ever have the wireless when you're doing that time, like disconnect or?
She asked me if I ever had wireless disconnect. Yes, I have, but not recently. I used to have that happen all the time back in when the Case Catalyst was about Case Catalyst 8 or 9, and had the first version of CaseViewNet. Then I would get times when it would hiccup on me and it would just quit, and I'd have to go in there and start it over again, but fortunately it would catch itself back up again. Since we've come to 11, 12, and I'm beta testing 13, I've never had a problem with it. Not a single glitch. It's been the most carefree and best, one of the best softwares I've had out there.
Whenever it disconnects or whatever, do you have to start a new real-time section?
No, not generally speaking. If it disconnects on the Wi-Fi, all I have to do is start it again, and it'll keep on going, or it'll where you left off. But with what I would do basically is I would start a different one, and it would load it all up to that point, so it would have a different one. But those are technical questions I want to answer right now. Okay, printers. How many of you have more than one printer? Well, good. I was going to think, how many of you only have one printer? How many of you have one printer that's just monochrome? Most of you have at least a color printer, color laser printer. I recommend getting two printers. Get one that's going to be the workhorse, and get an all-in-one for your office work that includes the fax, and also it's a cheap scanner. It's a slow scanner, but it's a cheap scanner. Laser workhorse, you want to have that one for transcripts, and you want to have a brand name. You want to have a place that you can go to at 6 o'clock in the evening by your house and get a toner, because you have 1,200 pages to print before tomorrow morning and you forgot to buy toner. So get a name brand, get some place that you can go buy the toner, and make sure that you have that well-stocked, either well-stocked or close by. And I'm just telling you this because you try to live off my experiences, because anything that can happen bad has happened because I kind of made it happen. What I'm using is a laser. I'm using a laser, a Brother. Brothers used to be really bad. They used to have a bad name, but I've run tens of thousands of pages through this particular one.
Do they have cheaper toners than HP?
They have their toners about, what you're going to pay for either one is going to be about 120 to 150 bucks for new toner. And I don't recommend anybody buying reusable toner, the remanufactured toner cartridges. I haven't had great experience with that, no matter whether it was HP or Brother. So buy the good stuff. You'll like me for it better when you look down at your page 300 and you had this through every page. High-speed scanners. I finally bought one because most of my clients want to have all of their stuff PDF'd. They want to have all of their 400 pages of exhibits in PDF. So I can do that and get everything high-speed scanned in probably about maybe 10 minutes compared to doing 400 pages on my all-in-one, which would take probably all day long. And the nice thing about the high-speed scanner is that what you get, you can generally get them so that it'll scan both sides at the same time. So you can duplex it as it's going through. It's really cool. I think we're looking probably around $300 to $450 for a good high-speed scanner. I mean, you can buy a cheap high-speed scanner, but I can guarantee you that when you put in 100 pages or 50 pages to scan, you're going to come out with 47. So get the good one. I mean,
What brand name have you got?
I really can't remember. I should have looked at it before I left. I think mine's a Xerox. Yeah, mine is a Xerox. Mine is a Xerox Documate scanner. It's just a scanner. I also have an all-in-one, but I have the scanner too. Okay, let's talk about professionalism stuff. I want you, when we go to jobs, you need to be on Kathy time. And as she said, that Kathy is my first wife, and she's also my only wife, but we've been married now for 32 years, and Kathy time is that if the job is 9 o'clock, then you need to be there at 8:30 or you're late. Be on Kathy time. Be there before they're saying, where did the court reporter go? Trust but verify. So all they're talking about here is, well, do I ask about signature? Do I not ask about signature? Do I ask about... Yeah, you trust them, but you say to them, I'm going to tell you that every time I get done with a deposition, I look at the attorney and I say, what would you like to do about the signature? I'm sorry, if I have an attorney who tells me, don't ask me that, I'm going to say, okay, I don't ask you, what would you like me to do about the signature? It's real easy. It's because it's part of the civil rules of civil procedure, and we're required to follow them, so we need to find out. And other than that, you know, we'll have office policies. Just follow those office policies. It's real easy. If it needs to be read and signed, send it to the attorneys whose witness it is and leave them a letter. Let them be the ones to collect the signature. Don't make your office staff do that. Timely produce your transcripts. I've had attorneys come up to me with horror stories, telling me about, well, I tried to get this transcript from this reporter, and I had to wait for 3 months, and I finally had to write them a letter to sue them before I could get my transcript. And it still took 2 weeks. I heard that this last week about somebody that I consider to be, I'm not going to tell you who it is, because anyway, I heard that this last week, and I just, you know, you get dumbfounded about things like that, because one reporter can spoil it for a whole bunch of others. For people like Judge, I won't tell you his name, Brothers. So timely produce your transcripts. And if you can't produce your transcript timely, get a scopist. Get somebody to help you. Find a way to do it. You have to make sure that when you say something, I'll get it to you tomorrow, you get it to them tomorrow. That's just good. That's what we have to do. So professionalism. Dress for success. Ladies, I don't need to tell you this, but you know, if you're going to wear a skirt that will cover your knees so that when you sit, your machine does not become a different appendage. You know, your attorneys might like that, but they really want you to, you know, I think your office people would be really more interested in you showing a good professionalism, so that when you go in there, it's like, this is my court reporter, not, hey, this is my cute court reporter. Because I can't tell you how many times I've gone in there and went, oh, it's you. I was really hoping to get. I said, well, in your dreams, buddy. But you know, you're not my type either. So dress nice. I mean, if you can wear pants, pantsuits, whatever. Guys, when you go on a job, I know that the attorneys come showing up slovenly, and they come in there with their T-shirts and their collars open without anything. But I'm going to suggest to you, gentlemen, just like I do, every time I go on a job, I wear a coat and tie. Every time. That's my workplace. You can agree or disagree with me, but that shows at least a level of professionalism that they hopefully will find that you need. Self-improvement, we talked about that. You need to analyze and correct your writing. If you find that you are writing the same thing wrong every time, figure it out, correct it. Or, you know, one really cool thing about computers nowadays, that if you find that you're writing the same phrase wrong 60 times in a deposition and you're having to correct it 60 times in a deposition, define it. Define your slop. Your slop is okay. As long as the computer can read it, it's great. So correct your writing. Let your CAT be your CAT. CAT stands for Computer-Aided Transcript. So every CAT system that's out there now with the new CAT system, if you are having problems with distinguishing there, here and here, this and there, because you're dragging something wrong, make them a conflict and put them into your conflict resolution database. You can do that on any new CAT program. After a short period of time, it will be picking the right thing for you, and you'll never have that conflict again. It'll be gone, and you haven't changed your writing, but your CAT system will change your writing, will make your writing better for you. Get your newest update. Every once in a while, click on the computer where your CAT system is when it's in there, click on Help, click on Check for Updates. And if it has an update, download it. And it's usually free. It's really good. It's a good thing. And then you need to go on to like the system site, or I think all of the CAT systems have forums for their CAT users. Go on those forums and find out what it is that's new and exciting about it. Make your job a challenge again. Get your computer working for you instead of you working for it. There's no reason why you should be working at 10 o'clock every night if you're not doing 4,000 pages a month. If you're doing 1,000 pages or less, or 2,000 pages or less, you should be working a 40-hour week, because your computer can do that for you if you let it. Stop being obstinate. Write short. Now, I know that many of you are we are shorthand reporters. Remember those two words, shorthand reporters. So if you have a word that's going to take you 5 strokes, like illuminated, 5 strokes, that's 4 strokes too many, or 2 strokes too many. Just make it so that you're doing loomed or something. Just make it so that you understand it each time. Write shorter. Make your shorthand strokes earlier. There's a thing that in JCR or the NCRA used to put out a thing called Making the Record. And the first quote in there was, a court reporter will write anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 strokes in one day. It's better for all concerned that it doesn't happen in the first hour and a half. But I want to tell you, as a court reporter, it's better for you, instead of writing 30,000 strokes in one day, that you're writing the 10,000 strokes in one day. These are the things that are going to keep you going. This will make it work. Write short. Change your writing if you can. Scopists. How many of you use a scopist? Oh, good. The word is getting out there. How about proofreaders? How many of you are not having somebody else proofread your transcript? Okay, I'm going to encourage you to please do that, because you want to see what is on the page. You don't usually see what really is there. I tried it several times, and I have found myself, even after I proofread something twice, I go back and look at it, and something just pops out at me all of a sudden. It's like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? So scopists are really good, but if you're going to use a scopist, use the scopist to do the first draft, and you come back and clean up and do the proofreading, if that's what you want to do. Or you do the first draft, and then hire a proofreader so that they proofread your messes, so that they see it. Finding one is easy. You can just go on scopist.com. You can go ask your friends who've got a good scopist. The NCRA website, the Joker or JCR will have some ads in there. They're easy to find. But when you find one, you want to make sure that you can trust each other, so you train each other. This is what I like, and they'll say, this is what I like, and you say, this is what I don't like. You don't have to be mean, and you don't have to get freaked out about it if they do something you don't like. Just say, well, I don't like that. Because really, ladies and gentlemen, your transcript isn't you. It's something you're producing. So if somebody's correcting something on there, they're just correcting the transcript, not you. Then you have to learn how to work as a team. As court reporters, we are probably the worst at all of that, because we have been trained from the beginning of our career to be self-sufficient, to be number one, and that A-type personality. So you need to learn how to work as a team with your scopist and your proofreaders. So when you're giving them information, you say, I'm sending you 80 pages, I need it in 2 weeks, or I need it in 1 week, and it's not a word for word, or it is a word for word, and then any spellings or whatever that you have. So you work as a team. After a while, it gets to be second nature. It's kind of fun. And the one thing that's really nice about working with a scopist, if you're high volume, you make a lot more money. I like that. Oh yeah, proofread your work. Market yourself. Market yourself by being positive about what you can do. Do not market yourself by being negative about your competitor. I can't stress that enough. Every time you're saying something negative about your competitor, it's a court reporter. So, do everything within Tennessee with our ethical guidelines because they're the same as NCRA's. I guess I'm through. I'm through. I have a whole lot more on this thing, so if you remember my email address, I will email this to you if you want it. That's it. The end.